Assalamu alaikum and peace and blessings to all of you. I hope you are all doing well. Today I have brought something really special for you. A video about a young woman from one of the farthest corners of the world, Tonga, who accepted Islam. I'm sure this name might sound new or even a little strange to you, but just so you know, Tonga is actually a very remote island nation made up of 171 small islands. What's even more interesting is that many of these islands aren't inhabited by anyone at all. The islands of Tonga are located more than 2000 kilometers beyond New Zealand, so it wouldn't be wrong to say that the light of Islam is reaching even the most distant corners of the world. So let's move towards her video.
Hey everyone, peace be upon you, and welcome back to my TikTok account. Ever since I announced that I accepted Islam, I've been getting all kinds of mixed reactions. On one side, there are people who are congratulating me on this new journey and making dua for me. And on the other side, there are a lot of people who are criticizing me, calling me names, and judging my decision. So in today's video, I want to talk about exactly that. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who welcomed me into Islam with love, prayers, and kindness. I really appreciate it. But today's topic is actually for those people who criticize Islam and try to convince me that Islam is a bad religion. They talk to me as if I don't know anything about Islam and as if they're the experts. Honestly, the reality is the complete opposite. A lot of them tell me that Sharia laws are inhumane, uncivilized, and cruel. But in truth, this is the same old useless false propaganda that's been spread about Islam for years. My goal here isn't to argue with anyone. I'm not here to debate. My goal is simply to create awareness and help people understand what Sharia actually means. I'm a new Muslim from Tonga, and I truly understand why so many non-Muslims feel confused, because at one point, I was on the other side too. I know what it's like to only hear about Sharia through news headlines or short social media clips that make it look scary and extreme. But I want you to know that's not the reality. The real problem is that most people never actually study it. They just repeat what anti-Islam voices tell them. They haven't read even a single verse, and they've never genuinely tried to understand what Sharia really is. That's why there's so much fear in non-Muslim societies, because it's easy to create fear when there's ignorance. Curiosity and learning take courage, and courage is what pulls a person out of fear. So what is Sharia? Let's start simple. In Arabic, the word Sharia literally means the path to water, and water here represents life. So Sharia means the path that leads to life, the path that gives life. As Muslims, we believe Sharia isn't a man-made legal system. It's guidance from God, given to help human beings live a balanced, ethical, and just life. Sharia isn't only about worship or prayer. It also gives guidance for how we live together as a society. It teaches us how to do business, what's allowed and what's not, what's halal and what's haram. And it's not just about trade laws. Sharia creates a complete system for every part of life. If you're an employee, it explains your responsibilities. If you earn a paycheck, it teaches you how to earn it in a lawful way. If you're an employer, it lays out the rights of your employees. If you're a wife, it explains your responsibilities towards your husband. If you're a wife, it explains your responsibilities towards your husband. From giving charity, protecting the poor and the vulnerable, to establishing justice, Sharia covers every aspect of life. It's not just a legal code, it's a complete moral and ethical system. Islam provides guidance for every human being. No ruler can say, Islam didn't teach me how to govern, and ordinary people can't say, Islam didn't tell us what our responsibilities are. It explains what parents owe their children and what children owe their parents. It teaches teachers how to treat students and students how to respect their teachers. In short, Sharia gives clear guidance for how every person is meant to live their life. And religious laws, what people call Sharia laws, aren't unique to Islam. Every religion has its own system. Christianity has the Ten Commandments. Judaism has halakha. So why is it that when Muslims say we also have a set of laws and principles, people suddenly panic? The difference is that Muslims actually try to live by these principles in their everyday lives, and that's what keeps them connected, at some level, to their faith and to God. This is the connection every Muslim has with God and faith, something other belief systems don't really have in the same way. And that's exactly why, in the West, some people who push anti-Islam propaganda say things like ban Sharia. But the truth is, you can't ban Sharia. It's not something sitting in a parliament or written into a government building. Sharia is a way of life. Whenever a Muslim prays 5 times a day, that's Sharia. When a father fulfills his responsibilities towards his children, or a husband and wife fulfill each other's rights, that's Sharia. When we give charity, that's Sharia. When we stay away from lying, cheating, or backbiting, that's Sharia. A Muslim judge being just in court, a Muslim treater being honest in business, that's Sharia. In simple words, every time a Muslim tries to live according to God's commands, that is Sharia.
Dear viewers, before we move ahead with the video, we have a small request. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Subscribing means you are joining us in our mission to spread the message of truth to every home. When you stand with us, it gives us strength, truth becomes stronger, and falsehood loses its power. Also, don't forget to write the name of your city in the comments so we can see where our videos are being watched. Thank you so much, and may God reward you.
So if someone thinks they've banned Sharia, they should remember this. Sharia already lives in the hearts and daily lives of nearly 2 billion Muslims around the world. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest misunderstandings, punishments in Sharia. This is the part people get the loudest and most emotional about, so let's explain it calmly and clearly. Yes, Islam does include strict punishments, but they're extremely rare. Why? Because they can only be applied under perfect and ideal conditions. And honestly, no modern state today meets those conditions. Take the example everyone brings up, cutting the hand for theft. Before anything like that could ever be considered, the country must have a completely just legal system. Zakat and other Islamic welfare laws must be fully implemented so poverty is minimized. The person must fully understand right and wrong, so no punishment for children or people with mental disabilities, and the evidence has to be absolutely clear. Even 1% doubt cancels the punishment entirely. The Prophet Muhammad said, "When there is doubt, remove the punishment and look for a way to forgive." That's not cruelty, that's mercy. Here are a few examples. If someone steals food because they're hungry, Islam does not punish that person. Instead, Islam holds society responsible, because if someone has to steal just to survive, the system has already failed. Also, if the stolen item is food or something perishable with a short shelf life, the punishment of cutting the hand does not apply. And there are many other conditions too, like the stolen property must have been kept in a secure place. If something is taken from an open or public area, that punishment doesn't apply. I won't go into all the details here because I don't want to make this video too long, but the conditions are very strict. Now, let's look at another example people constantly talk about, adultery and the punishment of stoning. This is heavily used in Western propaganda and labeled as barbaric or inhumane. But for this punishment to even be considered, 4 adult eyewitnesses are required, people who literally saw the act happen with their own eyes, as clear as seeing a snake enter its hole. Not rumors, not assumptions, not screenshots. 4 reliable eyewitnesses. That condition alone makes it almost impossible, because Islam is not obsessed with exposing people's private sins. It prioritizes human dignity and privacy. Even if people are standing outside a room and hear sounds, the punishment still doesn't apply unless they actually saw it happen. Another major condition, the man and woman must both be married. If unmarried people commit this act, the punishment is lashes, not stoning. So even after all these conditions, only if two married people who already have lawful spouses still choose to openly commit adultery in such a shameless way that 4 people clearly witness it, then the punishment applies. The point of all this is simple. When the conditions are this strict and someone still commits theft or public sexual immorality, then setting strong punishments to protect society from these crimes is not injustice. It's a way to keep society clean, safe, and morally grounded. Now, in the last part of this video, let's take a quick look at Sharia compared to Western legal systems. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Harsh punishments for breaking the law exist in almost every country in the world. Take the death penalty, for example. In the world today, 21 Islamic countries have the death penalty, but so do 27 non-Muslim countries, including the US, China, Japan, and India. That means even in developed, so-called civilized countries, strict punishments are used to prevent crime. But here's the thing. When it comes to Islamic punishments, suddenly people call them barbaric, like the West has never punished thousands of people under its own laws. The difference is that Sharia has extremely strict standards for evidence, intent, and justice, standards that most modern systems just can't meet. Mercy in Sharia isn't a weakness, it's the foundation. Allah declares himself the most merciful above all else. That's why the Prophet Muhammad said, "Make things easy, do not make them difficult." The purpose of Sharia isn't control, it's about maintaining peace, order, and spiritual growth in society. Some people say Sharia is oppressive to women, but the truth is, Islam granted women rights long before the world started talking about women's rights. Under Sharia, women can own property, choose their husband, keep their earnings, get an education, and inherit wealth. I'm not diving deep into that topic today, but if you all want, I can make a whole video just about women's rights in Islam, so let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do that. Here's another thing. When I first heard about Sharia before accepting Islam, I expected it to be scary, but after doing my research, I felt at peace, alhamdulillah. In reality, Sharia is about justice, order, and discipline. It protects the soul from chaos and society from corruption.